Hey friends, it's me, the Ebony Otaku, the well-rounded nerd. So yes, this is an environment in my humble abode that you've not seen before because I am in my husband's office. This is where our painting table is located. So a few folks had asked about like when I go out to paint, like at the hobby store and stuff like that. Like, what do you take with you? How are you transporting stuff? Like, what is that like? So that's what this video is. It's I'm not going to say I'm giving instructions because I don't think I'm at the instruction giving level when it comes to this type of thing. However, as a hobbyist and one who hobbies with other people, I thought, hey, maybe this is a good opportunity to give y'all a peek into, how I'm able to go out in other places conveniently and do this. And this is stuff I use at home too. I just have a system for being able to pack up quickly and go elsewhere. So something different. Let's look at it. Now, you've probably noticed that our offices look very, very different. Before I moved in, when we got married, there was no like attention to decorating, which everyone has a different aesthetic. Not everyone cares about that. I'm a person who likes all the color all the time. It's not that my husband didn't want to decorate. It's just not. It's one of those things that's like, it's great if it's there, but I'm not going to do it. So he has given me carte blanche to decorate the whole house. And we've started that process. But when we get to his office, I'm going to make his office just as cool as mine. He really loves D&D. And when it comes to Warhammer, he really loves his orcs and grots. So I'm going to do on one side of his office kind of a D&D mural. So probably on this wall because it's a big wall. And if he works from home, that's the one he faces. And on the wall here, because I'm facing our painting table, I've got a side, he's got a side. And there's a 3D printer over there. But on the wall that we face when we paint, I'm going to do like a like over the hill kind of Warhammer mural kind of thing. I'm probably going to get some foam board from the hardware store, cut it out, make it like a 3D thing because she's extra that way. But I'm going to have like little orcs and grots marching over a hill going, here we go. Here we go. And like cut out the words and stuff. It's going to be cool. It's going to take me like 2 weeks to do that. But I'll probably towards the end of September, maybe October, start gathering some supplies because we should be getting closer to me being able to do that. So we're building him a garage and like all of our 3D printing stuff will go out there and he's going to build a boat, and we're building a new bedroom for the stepson so that while he's in college and living at home, he can have his own space. And eventually when we're empty nesters, that can be another guest space / gaming space for us. But his bedroom is going to become a game room for us. That'll give us extra total gaming space. So like everything in here that's not us painting will come out of this office and go into the game room. We're going to build us a nice tall gaming table. It's kind of like you would see at a hobby store, that type of thing with our storage for scenery under it. And yeah, it's going to be great. But we've got like 2 years worth of work we're doing on the house. Like we're doing stuff to the kitchen, we're doing stuff to the living room because a girl moved in. An extra person moved in. Plus, we're gonna end up with an extra bathroom as well because my house is brand new and I have 4 toilets, and now I got to share. No, I'm joking. No, it's great. But that's one of those things. Okay, nerdy relationship stuff. I gotta say it. So when we got married, I had to sell my home, and I had a brand new home. So I have a really nice kitchen. I had a big, beautiful bedroom. I decorated the whole house. And that's one of the things he promised me was that in coming here, that I was going to be able, you can't necessarily recreate what you had somewhere else, but that when I come here, you can decorate. I'll make sure you get the kitchen that you wanted even more than the one that was built. Like I'm getting pink countertops, y'all. Like when you're building a life together, and especially when one person has to give up more than the other, because someone a lot of times in marriage has to move. Somebody gonna move, and in this case, it was me. And he's making it possible for me to still have the things that I love and decorate. So it's gonna be great. Like that. Those are those little clues that let you know, like, yeah, I done found the right one. Yeah. But yeah, this is our painting room, and I'll eventually give you a tour of the painting table. That's not the purpose of today's video. And plus, his side, as usual, is a whole wreck. Like if you just come into this room, you can tell whose side is whose. Like that's his office chair behind me. Like our offices are completely different, right? Don't worry, I got him covered. I'm gonna give him an office just as good, if not better, than what I did in mine. But I have a little pink chair that I'm sitting in that's very cute. It's got like a seashell back. It's perfect for this height of table. But I think we're going to end up building tables. He does carpentry. Every engineer, my husband's an engineer. They all have some other engineering type hobby. Like some of them are engine people. We got one friend who's like obsessed with the drainage at his house. Like he has his own backhoe for some reason. Like they all do something like that. My husband does woodworking, so he's going to do some custom builds for us for the house. But we're going to build a higher up painting station eventually that's nice and solid, so if like one of us gets up or moves, we don't shake the table. Like, look, you see the light move? This is a plastic folding table. So, but I'm thankful to have what I have at the moment. It's great. But things for traveling to paint. First of all, a couple of ground rules. Don't overwhelm yourself. All right, and I've been getting into the painting hobby this way, and as far as tabletop gaming and stuff, over the past year and a half. Been very clear. I got into Warhammer for the lore. I tried the tabletop game when I was younger, was not successful. But now that I'm older and have money and know what I'm doing, like I'm all in. So things you got to think about first is don't overwhelm yourself. Don't try to do more. And when it comes to going somewhere besides your home to paint, you can never do as much as you think you're going to do because there's set up and tear down. You know, you got to set your stuff up, you know, be ready to paint. And then you have to pack it back up. So you usually have 2 to 3 hours of paint time. If you have a really cool shop, you might spend a whole day there, you know, if you have one like ours. So just keep that in mind. And then start small, you know, few colors, small models. And the third thing is think about how you want to protect your figures. So if you're going to take figures from your home to somewhere else, even if it's just to play the game, like up there in the top, that is there's my heresy box, but that's my clear storage case, and I've actually just ordered us 2 more carry cases, custom made by a local artist. So you gotta think about how are you going to transport them. That case is for when I play the game. But what about transport when you're painting and building? That is a consideration. So we're going to talk about all of that today. How do you transport paint? What stuff do you take with you? But just like with collecting, like don't look at that wall of foolishness behind me when I do other videos in my office and go, oh my God, I'll never have what she has. Huh? Been collecting since I was a child. Okay? Never compare where you are in life on your journey to where someone else is. We're all on our own journey and you will get there in time. All right? Ground rules laid. We're all feeling good? Okay, let's do this thing. Longest intro ever. Hey friends, it's me, the Ebony Otaku, the well-rounded nerd. Let's start with the easiest thing, the paints. How do I transport my paint? This is what I do. Might not be what you do, but this is what I settled on. I used to have a backpack that I was transporting paint in with a little bitty carrying case. It's the old wooden, like, I can't even describe it. I have to go find it somewhere. A little wooden chest thing that when I had little bottles of, just a few bottles of Citadel paint, I used it to transport. I stuck it down in my little backpack, and I'll show you here in just a second because I use it for something else now. But I've graduated to having lots of paint. And these are not all my paints. My primary paint, especially when I'm doing Warhammer, is Citadel. I also use Pro Acryl paints, especially their primers. I typically use Pro Acryl primer on every model. I also use AK paints as well. And then for other types of models that I paint that are not tabletop gaming, I have Sperry acrylics. They come in a tube. They're really good. They're really good colors. They're very bold. But I use them for like my big anime figures and stuff that I paint. So that's the, you know, those are the brands that I use. My husband does use speed paints, and there's another brand up here called Game Ink that he uses. But my primaries that I can at least say that I like, Citadel, which that is the Games Workshop brand, you know, Citadel paints. Pro Acryl, they are really good paint. Pro Acryls are good. The AKs, I love the AKs. They have really good bold colors as well. And then for my other figures, my Sperry's. So this is a toolbox. That's what it is. When you buy stuff for something other than what it was made for, you end up being able to get it for cheaper. Like, I don't know why it works out that way. Like, I'll show you the storage on our little station here as it is one day. But we have like makeup trays and spice racks to store our paints. That's not what they were designed for. They work great, and they were $7 on Amazon. So yeah, works real good. Or, you know, my mother-in-law, when she was cleaning stuff out, gave us a spice rack, and we put bottled paints up there, like primers and stuff like that. But yeah, this is a toolbox. That's all it is, and it's pink because that's my favorite color. But that's what I love about stuff like this. Tackle boxes work good as well. But if you're someone who likes to keep things separated and organized, it has automatic compartments built into it. So just on the top here, look, this flips up, and there's storage on the very top. So I'm going to move my stand light out the way. And in the top, you can see that there are 7 compartments. I use these corks. These are for holding up figures. You can buy stands and handles, but I don't use any kind of handle when I'm painting. Like, you stick the figure on top and you can turn it. I don't use one enough to justify buying one. So this works fine for me with some putty, and they were really inexpensive. And paints that I have that are duplicates that are unopened, I stick them in the top as well. I have some stands for other figures, old earrings that I use as stencils. Yeah, lay this on top of something, airbrush it. Yeah, you got yourself a custom stencil that no one else is going to have. For paints that come out of bottles, like the Pro Acryls and the AKs, we use these little pop toys that they're fidget toys, is what this is. And they're double use, so, you know, one side dries, you just pop it out, and there goes the paint. And then, you know, you put your paint in here, and then it dries, and you pop it out. It's silicone. So I've got a couple of those in here for when I need to use that kind of paint, and a couple of little spare figures that I haven't done anything with. I love this because it keeps it protected. Like, let me show you this little figure my husband printed for me. It is a little Bo Peep that I'm going to use in D&D and probably one-page rules. And look, she comes with a little bitty goat sheep. Is that not the best thing you've ever seen? Yeah. Okay, that was an instant funny jump cut. My stepson came home with my mother-in-law, and he just, as young people are wont to do, open the door. So I had to stop abruptly, but we're back. Yeah. Fun times. And dog got his barkies and play with toy out. He's on the, he follows me all over the house, so now he is on the floor playing with his favorite carrot that he's had for 3 years. He does not tear up his toys. He plays with his toys, so my dog is perfect. Anyway, so we looked at the top of this. Now let's open her up. So this is why I like this particular toolbox, because it came with something else, 2 other things. Most toolboxes have one of these in the top for just it would be for like screwdrivers and long tools. Up here, I keep the paints that I'm using for my current project. Now, many paints work for many different projects, but for what I'm painting right now, which is my Titan, and I am also painting, I'm finishing up my Aeronautica planes, this has been the color palette I've been using. Yeah, I think she meets the 3-color minimum. But yeah, I've kind of gone for 3 of the planes, I did kind of a pastel and precious metal look, and then the others I went super metallic on them. So that's what stays here. And then when me and my husband, this is just silly putty at the top, in case you're wondering what that is, extra silly putty. But when me and my husband go out to paint together, I will throw his brushes in the side so they stay straight. And my longest brush that fits nowhere else, this is a really good brush. This one is a script liner. This is a good brush, but it stays up here as well. And I also keep little things like filters for my airbrush. I have airbrushes at home, but portable airbrushes. I counted, I think we have 6 airbrushes total. 2 are technically mine. There's a shared one, and then my husband has 3. And then also I keep the airbrush cleaning tools up here. So that's what goes here. Just make sure you line them up correctly, because, you know, so the lid shuts. But I'm going to set this to the side and then show you why I really love this one. So remember I said start small. You can go ahead and get a toolbox like this. And why I would recommend one like this, and this is the Amazon special. What's the brand? Not sponsored. This one's called, it literally says Pink Power on it. I have a favorite color. But it came with this, a little bitty toolbox. So when you're starting out, you don't have to go get a massive one. Get you a little one. This came with it, and I don't have anything in the top here currently, but what I keep in here are the brushes I'm using for my current paint job, because every paint job requires a different type of brush. So the brushes I'm using for what I'm painting right now, and then other paints that I'm not using but are open. Other duplicates are just kind of thrown down in here, but these fit nicely together, and I can stack them really great. And actually, there's something here that I need to take out. Oh, come here. So we do sometimes take an airbrush with us, and I'll show you my portable airbrush in a second. But this is a bottle of flow improver for the airbrush. We're not going anywhere with it, so I can take that out. That's another thing. You gotta have a little bit of organization about it. You know, can't have everything everywhere all at once. But I also bring my brush saver soap with me. We've had the same jar for a year and a half now. But this, if you wet your brush and wipe it through in between paint jobs and give it a twirl, it will put the point back on your brush and definitely wash the paint out. It's good stuff. I also keep a small thing of paint thinner with me in case I want to make my own wash. Yeah, I know secrets, right? And that's where these come in handy, because last night when we went to Brush and Banter, which is just bring your stuff and paint at our local hobby shop, we all talk to each other, it's a good time. These little things, I put a drop of paint in, some thinner, and I was able to make some custom washes. So that's how you really start making your stuff look unique to you. It's just learn those little tricks over time. I got a bottle of ink in here that I like to use as primer. This in a portable airbrush works really well. It doesn't even need to be filtered. There's no clumps. But I have unopened color in here. So this one's actually my husband's. This is Black Templar, so I'm just going to set this on his side, but I might use it. But like, I've got a brown wash in here, a Pro Acryl. I've got a khaki color that I needed specifically for something. I've got my AK. These tubes don't really stand up any other way than in the open space, so I'll flip it up and let you see. So as you can see there, the little toolboxes in there, and then my other paints are just down to the side. And that changes out. So like, I've got like a brand new Gehenna gold. I use this gold quite a bit on things for highlighting and whatnot. So you know what Gehenna means? Gehenna means hell. It's another name for hell. Hell gold. I spilt my Eidolon purple, so I had to get another one. And I've also spilt my Vulpes pink, so I've got to get another one of those. I bought some new Army Painter brushes specifically so I could get this one. Look at that. But I have not started using them, so they're just down in there. So this is, you know, part storage, part transport, but because this is what I use anyway when I'm painting at home, I just take out this top portion of what I'm working with and put it on my painting desk, and I'm good to go. So it keeps me organized at home, and it keeps me organized if we go somewhere that's not home to paint. So you want to think about that. Is it multi-use? Kind of got to employ the Alton Brown principle of not letting things be single use. So this is storage for home, and it's easy transport if we go somewhere. So I'm going to set this down on the ground, and let's talk about other painting transport. So when we paint, sometimes you need extra tools. Like on my desk here, I have this magnifier, and it has a light. I know, right? That's hard to look at. Turn it off. I like this one because it clips to the desk. It's really easy for me to manipulate. But this is my magnifier for home. I can look down and it's shining directly on what I'm looking at. It's very able to manipulate. Like, I can sit straight up and paint like this. Kind of great. Not always an option when you travel. I also have this stand. So if you're trying to glue stuff together, one of these is handy if you don't have another set of hands to help you when you're gluing and curing, because you can clip something here and hold it together, and it's great. It also works for detail painting because you can have something held here and paint. This is one of the first things I bought when I was starting to paint a long time ago, and I never got to use it because I gave up. But I don't always take this out with me. It's kind of heavy, but it mostly right now serves as my phone stand when I'm painting. But here's the coolest thing that I take with me that I highly advise everyone to get. Let me unplug it and keep it charging. This is my portable airbrush. We have technically 3 of these. I bought my husband one as well, but he broke it, so I bought him another one that's sturdier. What brand is this? Don't know. Go on the internet and look up portable airbrush. This one can do makeup and paint. So it's for fine mist, which is why you can put the ink in, but that's also why we have the filters that can go in here. So you stick your filter in, then your paint, a little bit of thinner, a little flow improver to make sure you don't clog this up. At any time you use your airbrush, you are going to have to take it apart to clean it. These portable ones are much easier to get apart and clean. than a regular airbrush. This is my professional airbrush. This is my Grex. This is a really, really good airbrush. It has really good flow settings, but when it's time to clean this thing, it is a project. I'm very good at it. I'm real good at getting my airbrushes clean, but this is a real airbrush. This is a quick release connector here. Take it off. My husband prefers this one. He has a Grex like this, but he prefers the trigger for control. I learned to use an airbrush with this, so now I can't do it any other way. So it's just how it is. And I need to reset the ball in there, but that's fine. So let me stick that back. We have an airbrush holder here. There's 4 of them sitting in there. This one stays here. But the cool thing about this is because it's super portable. And how you turn it on, check it out. And here's what's funny. Here in the charge port, that's also where it's sucking in air. If I put my hand over here, you hear it gets quieter. And it has 2 settings. So that's super high on the green, and it turns yellow. It's kind of blowing a wider spray, but slower, and then off. This will go for priming for about 2 or 3 hours, which is more than enough time. But you always, if you use a portable one, you have to make sure you leave yourself enough power to clean it, because if you clog it, it's not like you can't you can clean it. It's just going to be a pain. But this I will throw in my purse if I want to take it somewhere. If you're going to be priming inside around other people, please use water-based paint. Don't use something that's going to be all fumey and gross. And even honestly, after a while with the water-based paints, if you're priming a bunch of stuff, take it outside. Just fumes are real. We've got a couple of primers that on the bottle it dead up says do not use this inside. Like, it's going full turpentine on you. So I love this little airbrush. It's one of the best things I've bought. I bought ours at the same time. Had it for a year now. Mine is in perfect condition. He's on his second one. Told you, we just enable each other's BS. But when I'm not using it, or I don't have my phone plugged in at my desk, I have it just sitting over here plugged in. Now, the next thing you have to think about is figure transport. I'm sorry, no, let me not do figure transport yet. We'll get to that in just a second. But other accoutrement. I take this backpack with me. Okay, first admire the backpack. My husband got it for me. It was a wedding present. Yeah, I was at Target one day with him. I forget what we were buying. I think it was dog food. I don't know. I think we bought oat milk that day too because I wanted it. But these cute little pens were at the Target. We walked by them and they were like $4. And I was like, I want them. I never used them. They're just there to be cute. No other reason. But yeah, this was a lounge fly. I believe it's lounge fly. Yeah. Yeah, this is a lounge fly. But yeah, it's actually a relief, so you can actually feel it. He's like, actually coming out, so it's great. But anywho, I use this. This is my backpack, so I've got my little toolbox. It's got all my paints and some of my brushes. And then this is what I used to put paint in. So I had like another little carry case I would shove down in there and then put everything on top. And then I realized she had gone ham. To start out with, a little bag that holds just what you need is perfectly fine. Little bitty toolbox, that's perfectly fine. Go to the Dollar Tree and get you some of them little Tupperwares that snap together to keep your paint in. The reason you want to put your paint in something, especially to keep them upright, if you use the pot paints, if you don't put the lid on perfectly, you could have some spillage, and you don't want spillage all inside of a bag or something, and then you have to clean it up, and then you wasted paint, and that stinks. Because paint ain't cheap. Or even if it's like a twist top paint like this. So when I say pot and paint, so this is a pot, this is, a twist bottle. If you forget to twist it and it falls over, well, then you've lost paint and you also have a mess. So a lot of people have feelings about these pots. I don't mind them, but I also have very good dexterity with my hands, so it never bothers me. But what I use this for primarily now, instead of paint, is stuff I need to paint with. So I always take an apron with me. This is the one that I paint with actually in the office, and I just ball it up and throw it in there. It is a kitchen apron. It's very cute. Can you tell it's for painting? Yeah, she legit paints, y'all. So I'm going to put this back in the chair. I just throw it in the bag when we're going somewhere. We'll get to these in a second. This is stuff that I'm currently painting and almost finished with. But I'll show you that in just a moment. Get that out. So stuff that is in here. When I need to have light magnification outside of the house, I don't bring this. My husband does bring his lamp because it's USB, and I'll take like a battery pack with me to plug it in. Mine is USB as well, but I have it threaded through in a weird way to plug in. So I got this. There's a few extra things in here, but this, you've probably seen me have pictures of this on my community tab. It is a light headset with magnification. And this goes up to 10 times magnification, so it's like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. They're really great. So I can choose the magnification I need, and then you pop them in here. And it works fine with me with my glasses. We all have different sightedness, so, you know, adjustments are needed. But check that out. That's a light. And I can make it brighter. And then off. And this thing, I used it last night for 3 straight hours, and it barely touched the power. So its battery is really, really good. I keep extra gloves in here as well. I always put a glove on my hand that holds my figure, because half the time my nails are done. They're not done right now, but I'm giving them a break. But also in here is that extra battery that I told you about. And I keep a couple of bricks for phones and stuff, and a couple extra cords. So this stays nicely zipped up in here. I never have to worry about if I have it. It stays in the backpack because I basically only use it outside of the house. Sometimes I use these goggles here, but most of the time I use my light that I have. The other thing that I have in here is this. This is very inexpensive. This was like $1.50. I think that we got it at the H&R. Hobby Lobby. You can probably get it at Michael's, Walmart, anywhere like that, but it's a paintbrush holder. It's just a tube. You have to know which end is up, but it keeps your brush tips from getting messed up. The tray in the toolbox does that as well because they're laying flat and I don't have anything on top of them. Brushes can get expensive. El Cheapos are totally fine. But we do have some brushes that were a little pricey for a brush, and I like to make sure, and then not only that, but even if they're not pricey, you might really like that kind of brush. Like this is a brush that I really love using, and I want it to stay good, so it lives in here. So there's that. There's extra gloves in here, but then I also carry this with me. I don't use it very often, but this is my wet palette. You don't know what a wet palette is. We'll talk about it later. But I keep that in here. Sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't, because I use the paint pots. I don't need it as much. I use those little silicone things, but I like having the option, especially if I'm doing a lot of mixing. And then at the bottom, I have a USB-C cord so that anything we're needing to plug in, I've got extra. I've always got a battery. So that's like the stuff, the equipment. So, you know, maybe I'll take a picture one day with all my equipment because I'll have my little mushroom purse across me, and it might have my my little airbrush in there, or it might be in here, honestly, because there's enough space. I'll have my toolbox, and then I have this. When you go to hobby shops, no one expects you to not come with stuff. Like last night, there were people playing Magic, there were people painting, and there were people gaming. Everybody comes with a minimum of 3 accoutrements with them. So do not feel like, oh, I can't take this stuff with me. They're not going to want me. If it's a hobby shop that's worth their salt, they welcome that, because that's the whole point. Hobby is in the name. The one that we go to actually has food as well. So that will be our dinner on those days. We'll go paint. On Wednesday nights, I will eat my little cauliflower crust pizza and have a Powerade. And the shop staff is really cool. One of the ladies that works there, me and her actually kind of becoming friends, which is great because moving here, I don't know anybody. So it's nice to be making friends, and it's just a good time. The last thing you have to worry about is your figures. So there's lots of ways to do this. The way that I started out is I like to separate using little bitty Tupperwares. I ordered a set from Amazon. You know where it came from. She does not have an Amazon store, y'all, so don't ask. I'm not much of a salesperson, even though I teach salespeople. I used to be a salesperson, but I know that everybody's kind of done with just being sold to. If my YouTube makes it to monetization, it's eligible now. I just have to get the views to be monetized. But if I ever get there, I just want to get paid off ad revenue. Because everyone, including me, I'm tired of being sold to as well. Like, does everything have to be you selling me? I'm just telling you stuff that I use. That's it. I'm not selling it to you. Maybe one of these days I'll have a t-shirt, but that might be the extent of it, because we've all been sold to death at this point. Let me just recommend to you the stuff I use. This was a multi-set of Tupperware that I got on Amazon, and it had ones that were itty-bitty and bigger versions of this. So we use those around the office to help us arrange. When I redo his office, I'll give you a tour, not in its current state. But these are the ones I just finished last night. They just need their satin coat on them, so I'll probably do that this evening. This weekend we're going boating, so I won't do it on Saturday. But then my other planes, I was able to get their final base coats done. They just need a little bit of shading. So I did some that had gold with a silver relief and the others like this. The reason these are individual is because these wings move. I didn't want them knocking into each other, and that's what's great about those multi-packs. It was like $14, and it came with like 60 boxes of varying sizes, from real big to real little. Even have me these are bases for Aeronautica, so I've got them primed so that I can paint them. These will be the last of the bases I do for Aeronautica. But that's what you got to think about. And then when it comes to things that are multiple pieces, that's when it starts getting complicated. So when I was just painting my kill team, I used this. It's now a Terminator box because I have a box of Terminators over there. But what I do is cut out the pieces and then separate them this way and triple check that I have all of the right pieces. And as I'm painting, I keep them in these slots. If it's a small group, like a kill team, a squad of Marines. But what if you're doing more than a squad? What I tell y'all about a tackle box or a toolbox. This is the big one for if I'm doing a large project. So when I was building my Emperor's Children army, this is what I used for organization. It is a tackle box. We got it in the tackle box section at the Wally World. You know, I used to never go to Walmart, and then I moved, and I was like, oh, this Walmart's different. But I love this because it's got big storage in the top for big things. These are all pieces to guns that go on my Spartan tank that was not built correctly. Okay, the Spartan tank is built correctly. The guns are not on there correctly. Is she going to fix it? No. It is what it is now. I might build another one day. But then look, it's got all these little pop-out trays that are separated, right? So Marine, 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 all the pieces that go with it. Same thing. And then what's great about this is this one had the exact right number that I needed. So like when I was doing my Terminators, I used this. I did the Terminators first, separated them out. I used the bigger slots at the top. So there's 4 on each side, and at the bottom there's like 7 small ones. So these are perfect for Terminators. So on this side and on this side, got all the Terminators separated, painted, done, put those away. And then I needed all of it because you get 20 Marines per army this way. So I cut all the pieces and then separate them into their trays, and as I'm painting and putting together, I could assembly line it. So that worked for me. But if I'm working on a big army and I want to take it with me, there you go. So I could potentially have my backpack, my toolbox, and my tackle box. That's perfectly okay at the hobby store. So let's talk about the hobby stores for a second. So you've probably realized I have not given y'all the name of the places that I go to, only because I've not gotten their permission to mention where I go. So I probably need to talk to the owner so I can quit saying hobby store, because he probably wouldn't mind the free advertising anyway. And plus you'd have to live here to go anyhow. But there's lots of different types of hobby shops. The one there are 2 that we like the best. One of them is real painting focused. So they do something there called a paint and take, where you can give them $10 and you can use their paints all day. You can pick a figure and take it with you. And that was the first thing I did with that company a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, when my husband and I were dating. And he took me on a date there. But they're opening a bigger space so that they can have more gaming room. Because like right now where they are, all they can do is painting. And painting classes and demos and sell merch. So they want the bigger gaming store space. The shop that's closer to us that we frequent the most, they have a pretty big space. They probably got the best gaming setup right now in town. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 gaming tables, big ones. And then they have like 3 specialty rooms, and they have it's really cool. And they also serve food. They have a card space. They have cafe tables. It's cool. And they do a lot of different events. There's a couple others around town. A couple I know of, they're primarily card shops and like board games. They're not really set up for tabletop gaming, like war game type games. You gotta know the hobby shop you're going to, because they're all different. Like there's one across town that we went to probably 2 months ago, and I'll probably never go back. Not because it's bad, because it's not for me. It is a card shop. And I play Magic barely. I'm not in it to win it. So that shop is not designed for me. But it's kind of shop that my stepson loves because Magic is his jam. Or my stepdaughter, Magic's her jam as well. We got nerdy family all around. My future son-in-law, he would like that too. There is a card shop near us Then they sell some Warhammer stuff and some other gaming stuff, but they are primarily card driven, so that's not really a place that we go, because the two stores that we like the most, they have a ton of Warhammer, a ton of paints. They sell all the paint, and they have people in there who give us advice and stuff like that and help us get things ordered. There's one more that we love, but I go there to buy action figures. They have gaming space that I have never seen, because the first 4,000 square feet that you see is just action figures and comics. So I go there for that. I don't go there to game. Know the store that you're going to. Like, is it a gaming store? Is it a demo store? Do they let you bring stuff? Just go in and get the feel. If you see ads out for on the intrawebs for, hey, we're having an intro lesson to this, or a paint party or something, go. Excuse me, that was a hiccup. Go and see if you like the environment, you like the people. Try out some games. Get on Meetup. Meetup is a good place to find people who have similar hobbies and activities to you. Or if you're just looking to get into stuff, we have been very fortunate in meeting people who game who are really cool. Our Aeronautica group of folks, they're really cool, and we play other games with them. We do one-page rules. We play Warhammer 30K with some of them. Fantasy. We just started Drop Zone. So get out there, meet people. I know we're not all extroverted. I am an extrovert's extrovert. I am extra extroverted. Everyone's not like that. Get adopted by an extrovert if you're an introvert, and we will help you go do and make the friends and find the people. But that is my portable painting setup. This is what I do, but I hope it gives you an idea of what you can do if you want to go paint with others. One of these days I'll let you know how things look here. But this is not my office. This is my husband's office, and I'm not trying to share his whole business all over the place. I'm way more like on the internet, because I'm a millennial and he's a Gen X, so we're different about that. So I respect a person's boundaries. I don't put people on the internet who did not ask to be there. I am very firm about that. That's another reason I don't mention the shop. They have a web presence, but for me to do that, to mention those shops, I need to just make sure they're okay with it. And then I'll tell you where they are. I'm not just being secretive, because they're public places. It was so funny. This is the last story. It was about 5 months ago, yeah, I was getting ready for 30K, and I was in there practicing, and one of the guys that works there, I'd never seen him before, so I think he was new, and he said, hey, don't you have a YouTube channel? And I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, cool, I watch you. And I was like, yeah. It's like, okay, there is reach, and it's local sometimes. So, yeah, it's not a secret. I ain't scared of nobody. No, and I don't think I have an audience to be scared of. But again, have to make sure shop owners are cool with their places of business being mentioned. Let's not beat that dead horse anymore. Well, it's the end of my day. It's getting late. I think me and my husband are going to go out to dinner tonight. I'm feeling sushi. So dog is knocked out. I mentioned him and he opened his eyes. I'm sorry, Sammy. As always, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.